If you've spent any time on the internet, and I think you have, you've probably come across images of Cthulhu. Maybe you've seen expensive collectible figurines of Cthulhu, or cute collectible figurines of Cthulhu, or a plushie of Cthulhu, or a crocheted Cthulhu. Maybe you've even seen a well dressed Cthulhu, Dr. Seuss Cthulhu, or a Santa Claus Cthulhu, or a Santa Claus Cthulhu, or a Santa Claus Cthulhu. And you might have asked yourself, just who is this Cthulhu person anyway? And further question, why is he so often dressing up as Santa Claus? Cthulhu is a cosmic entity, one of the great old ones, a gigantic, ancient, godlike monster with a humanoid body, an octopus like head, prodigious claws, and long, narrow wings. The character was created in the short story The Call of Cthulhu, first published in the American magazine Weird Tales in February of 1928. As you can see, Call of Cthulhu didn't even make the cover. Instead, the cover story was Ghost Table by Elliot O'Donnell. It sounds pretty scary. It's a table used by ghosts, I guess, or maybe it's the ghost of a table. I don't know. I haven't read it. Nobody has, but plenty of people have read The Call of Cthulhu. It's one of the earliest examples of cosmic horror, a subgenre of horror that explores human insignificance in a cold, unfeeling universe. In the story, sailors discover an uncharted island and accidentally release Cthulhu, a monstrous being whose appearance and size is so abominable that if he doesn't kill you, the sight of him will drive you mad. Call of Cthulhu was written by H.P. Lovecraft, an author who was virtually unknown in his own time. He wrote for pulp magazines and was never able to make a living writing. His work was reevaluated in the 70s, and he is now regarded as one of the most significant authors in the field of supernatural horror. I always find that interesting when you have a creative person like Van Gogh who was unknown in their own time, but they live on forever through their work. Personally, I prefer to be rich and famous in my own time and live on forever through not dying. That's an old Woody Allen joke. The Cthulhu mythos is a shared fictional universe created by H.P. Lovecraft, and many writers since have set their stories in that universe. In fact, he encouraged other writers he knew to use his settings. H.P. Lovecraft did not call it the Cthulhu mythos. That's a term created by a writer named August Derleth, who wrote many stories in the H.P. Lovecraft style and probably single-handedly saved H.P. Lovecraft from obscurity by founding a publishing house to publish H.P. Lovecraft's works after his death, when it was too late to do H.P. any good. In addition to coming up in art, there's a role-playing game system similar to Dungeons and Dragons called Call of Cthulhu, which first came out in 1981 and is still extremely popular with nerds. I can call people who play role-playing games nerds because those are my peeps. There's a number of card games about Cthulhu and many board games about Cthulhu and video games about Cthulhu. This is a screenshot from a game called Cthulhu Saves Christmas. Especially in Ann Arbor, a town that has its share of weirdos, you may have seen a car sticker that says, "Vote Cthulhu, why choose the lesser of two evils?" Now, I've been pronouncing it Cthulhu. Some people pronounce it Cthulhu or Cthulhu. Lovecraft himself pronounced it something along the lines of Cthulhu. I'm probably not doing that quite right, but most people today pronounce it Cthulhu. So if Cthulhu is so popular, why hasn't there been a movie of Call of Cthulhu? Could it be that you missed seeing the movie Call Girl of Cthulhu? Okay, in fact, there was a Call of Cthulhu movie. It was a silent black and white film, even though it came out in 2005. It actually has a 100% Rotten Tomatoes rating, but I think a large part of that we can assume is because nobody's going to watch a silent movie about Call of Cthulhu unless they already know that they're going to like that kind of weirdness going in. So, what's the deal with so many images of Cthulhu as Santa Claus? Nobody really knows. Somebody drew a picture of Cthulhu as Santa Claus. It got posted on the internet, and now people do it all the time. The story and the character have nothing to do with Christmas. Although, interestingly, H.P. Lovecraft, despite being primarily a horror writer, did write a number of sappy Christmas poems. There's so many different interpretations of what Cthulhu looks like, but they're still instantly recognizable as being Cthulhu. He's constantly showing up in books, games, and art. I hope that this overview gives you an appreciation of just how much Cthulhu is out there in the pop culture landscape.